Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my OpenTTD tutorial series. Today we're looking at part 2 of towns and cities. Now in the last episode we looked at what a town and city was, how you can find out more information about it, and the different things you can do with the local authority. We also looked at growing towns and how to do that and some of the myths around it too. If you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend you do so, as things in this episode build upon that. And the link to the playlist of this series is in the description if you want to watch more. So, what we're going to look at today? Well, first off, we're going to check out how we can get more things in and out of towns than just passengers and mail. Last time I mentioned passengers and mail, but we are going to look at a new one today, and that is banks. Banks are an industry just like, say for example, we've got a factory over here. So if we click on the factory and do supply chain, we can see that the industry supply chain has livestock, grain, steel, goods and all this sort of stuff, and ends up at houses. So houses in a city or a town can actually be part of a supply chain because they accept goods. But if we look down the list here and select bank, you can see that banks transfer valuables between bank and bank. Okay, in this particular climate, in the temperate environment. We'll be looking at the other environments a little later in this episode. So, where are these banks? Well, banks can be found in any town and city above 1,200 people in population. So, if we look at some smaller places, for example, this one over here, 1,000-ish, no bank. Go over here, this one's quite small, no bank. No bank. If we go over to a bigger one, for example, this town over here, this structure over here is the bank. In the Z-based graphics pack, this is what it looks like. And if we click on it, we get a little window, just like we do with the other industries, telling us the information about what it produces and all that sort of thing. You can also go to its location. So, in any town or city with over 1,200 people in it, you should find a bank. So if we go over here, how many has this got? 1,700 and something. Now, this town, when the game started, was less than the amount required for a bank. So it doesn't yet have one in. A bank will eventually be placed as part of the town growth. Let's go to another place which is already quite big. Here we are, this town's quite big already. There's no services running in it, even though we put some stations in earlier on. And down here at the bottom, this is the bank. So we can transfer valuables between bank and bank in towns. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You can use the trains, buses, or all different methods, and all the tutorial that's been before this episode to actually link that up. But that's something you can find inside. So there we go. Banks are another way of transferring things between towns and city. It's another commodity that can be moved around, along with the passengers and mail that I mentioned last episode. So what else are we going to look at? Well, we need to look at different things in different environments, because the rules for towns and cities change then. So let's switch to a different environment. Okay, so here we have actually quite a nice map. I kind of like this one. I might save it actually. Let's save the game. Nice map. There we go. So this is one of the subtropical climates, okay? Now, it's a little bit different in this one. We have to look at things in a different way. If we go over to this town over here, we can see that it's got a population of 3,300. Well, that's quite big, that is. And if we click on the town, you can see here, we've got information. The town is not growing. And of course it's not growing. It's because we've got nothing in the town. No service going on. So if we just put a quick service in from over here to here, for example, there we go, and put a depot in, that'll do. Not necessarily a good way of doing it, but it gets a service running in the town. We should be able to see it start growing, just as we did in the previous episode. So let's just get a few of them and get them on their way. There we go, fantastic. So now those buses are going to go backwards and forwards in that particular town, and if we look at the information, you can see now the town is growing every 36 days. So this is exactly the same as it was in the temperate environment. However, in this one, we've got green areas and we've got yellow areas. Now the green areas represent a kind of oasis slash beachy kind of watery area which is lush with fruits and plants and all sorts of things around the coastlines usually, or near pools of water like this. And the rest is the desert. It's a kind of tropical desert with cactus in this particular graphics pack. And in the desert, the conditions are slightly different. If I click on the town here, you can see that there's some extra information. The town is not growing, as it was previously, and if I just quickly pop some vehicles in, as we did in the other town, and with the magic of editing, there it is. Okay, and with the magic of editing, there it is. We've got some buses going backwards and forwards in the town. And you can see that this time it's not working. The town is still not growing. And you may have noticed these other two items. It says cargo needed for town to grow. Water required, food required. And this is because if the centre of the town or city, so the middle of the town or city where it was spawned from, is in desert, so if it's in this desert area, if you're not sure whether it's desert, you can click on it with the information tool, the land area information tool. You can see whether that's desert or not. That's desert, that's grass. Desert, 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 grass, grass, grass. Yes, so if the centre of the town is in desert, it needs at least 1 ton of food and 1,000 litres of water every single month to be delivered to the town for it to grow. Okay. So, I'm going to have to get something connected up to this. Now, the water, it is not accepted by the buildings in the town themselves. In the town that requires water, we have an extra industry item, and that's this, a water tower. Okay, you can't click on it the same as you can anything else. It's like a special building, similar to a bank that you can't click on. But what you can do is put a railway station near it. Let's just do 1 track. No, let's do 2 tracks. And yeah, you can put a railway station in it. And if it's in the catchment area, like it is there, you can see that it says accepts water. Okay, so we've got to bring water in to that state. If I pull the catchment area away, it doesn't accept that. If we put catchment over here, passengers, mail, and food. Okay. So you need a good proportion of the town covered in order to accept food, and you need the water tower covered in order to accept water. So if we put the station there, and I'm just going to go away and link up some industries into that so that we get some water and food coming in for demonstration purposes. So I will be right back. Right, okay, so here we are. I've just built a few little bits and bobs, and what we're going to be doing is we need food and water into this town for it to grow. So we've got a station to accept food and water, and over here this is a food processing plant, and this is where we get the food from. But that needs fruit and maize in order to produce food, so we've got a track going off to a farm which in the tropical environment creates just maize, but also right next to it there's a fruit plantation. So we've got some trains picking up the fruit and maize and bringing it over, and I've just got to put in some tracks and some trains. Let's just make it a little bit wider so we can keep our trains running quickly, because we want to get as much food into this place as possible, because we're going to try and get it to grow. So let's just do that and put some signals here like this. Don't worry too much about the signals that I'm putting in at the minute. I think that should do it. Right, so I've got a couple of trains bringing in fruit and maize, and we will see that this food processing plant is going to start creating food. So let's pop a train depot in over here and then get a new vehicle. So we need to get some food vans in order to bring the food into the towns. So here we go. We've got a little tiny food train picking up some food from this place here. There's not any there yet, but it will pick some up as soon as that a food processing plant starts processing all this grain and fruit that we're bringing in. Here comes another load of grain and fruit. Grain and fruit comes in, and you can see there that our little train with the food is just loading up. And there we go. It's got a load of food in it. Now, I've only done one carriage because we only need 1 ton of food to be delivered. So let's give it some orders to go to the town. Go to the town. There we go. So we will see. Here's our food train coming into the town. It's carrying 25 tons of fruit in that one carriage. So you actually only need 1 carriage per month in order to fulfill that requirement. Okay, so we're currently in December. So we dropped some off in December. Whilst we're waiting for the end of December, let's get some water. So I've got this line going down here to this water pump. This is a water pump, and this one's producing quite a nice little amount of water. So let's pop a station on the end of that. And again, the catchment area has to cover the water pump. So there, look, we're supplying water. I'm going to put a little depot on the back and pop a train in there as well. Like this. And some water tanks, just a couple will do. Yeah, each water tank is going to be carrying up to 25,000 litres of water. So again, we only need 1 delivery a month from this train in order to qualify. In fact, what I might do is get rid of the other one on the end, just to make sure that we qualify. And there we go. We're going to be having this little water train going backwards and forwards. Let's see. Let's just get it to turn round so we make sure it fills up. Put it on full load as well. There we go. So the train's going to fill up with water, and it's going to come over to our town over here. Is it a town or a city? Let's click on it. No, it doesn't say city next to the name. It is a town. And you can see now it's saying food delivered. Okay, so because food was delivered in December, we've got this delivered marker, and of course, because we've got a train going backwards and forwards quite quickly with food, we're going to probably meet that requirement every month. So, where's our water train? Well, here it comes. It's quite a way for it to go. Here is the water train coming in, and we'll see that there it is. It's going to get delivered into the town. Now, you can see now we've had food and water being delivered into the town. The town is now growing every 105 days. And the same sort of principle now applies. Now we've got food and water in there, we can go to the normal sentence of saying that 1 to 5 stations in a town where a cargo is both delivered and received at the stations, at least 1 unit for the 2 months, will help the town grow. And it'll help the growth rate as well. So if we leave this running for a while, and probably put a couple of more bus stations in, we will end up with quite a big town. So that is how to grow the town in the subtropical environment. The amount of food and water delivered, as long as you meet that 1 ton of food and the 1,000 litres of water requirement, any more than that doesn't actually affect the town growth. It's a prerequisite before town growth, and then town growth happens based on the same principle as previously. Okay, and just a quick note, remember, if the centre of the town square is not in the desert, for example, if it's over here in the green, then the town will grow as per normal in the temperate environment. Well, there we go. That is that particular environment. Now we've got to hop over to a different environment and check out the Subarctic. And here we go. Welcome to the Subarctic climate. And for this one, we have another new thing to learn. The Subarctic climate for most towns has exactly the same rules as the temperate and toy line ones. We'll speak about toy line in a moment. So, for these towns down here, for example, this one here, the rules are exactly the same as temperate. Okay, so we just need to put some stations in and transfer passengers or mail or any other items between them, and they will grow normally. However, there's an extra condition in the subarctic environment. If we go to a town that's above snow level, so for example, we've got Hood Town up here, it's in the hills, it's in the snow. If we have a look at the land area jobby, you can see we've got a road there. We can click on the side there, snow-covered land. Okay, snow-covered land. If it's in the snow-covered land area, there's an extra requirement. If we click on the town, you can see there it says food required. Town is not growing. And this is the same as the subtropical, except we don't need water. So, again, what you'd have to do is find yourself some sort of... where's a food processing plant, I guess? Let's have a look. There it is. A food processing plant like this. And you need to bring items into it. If you look at the supply chain here, we need to bring livestock and wheat in from a farm to the food processing plant to create food and send to the houses. Okay, and then the town will grow following the normal rules. Well, that was the only other exception. So to kind of recap today, in towns you get banks as well as passengers as mail. Banks can be found in towns with a population above 1,200. If the game starts with a town below that population and you grow it up, you have to wait for the town to build the bank. Banks can be bought under the Fund New Industries option here from this top menu, along with other items, but this is very expensive and not normally something that happens early to mid-game. Getting a town to grow in the temperate and toyland environment is how we described last episode. However, in the subtropical environment, you need to deliver at least 1 ton of food or 1,000 litres of water per month in order for the town to grow. Delivering any more than this doesn't actually affect the town growth rates. And that is for a town where the centre square is in the desert. If the centre square is not in the desert, then it's the same rules for temperate. For the subarctic environment, for towns that have their centre square on normal land, it's the same as the temperate environment. However, if a town has their centre square in the snow, then the town will require food to grow as well. It's worth noting that in some environments and some locations, town will very slowly grow by themselves anyway, so that is something to keep an eye out. The wiki actually states that the towns will grow very slowly on their own, so in the case of small towns which aren't large enough to accept food, you simply have to just wait for them to grow. So if you put a station over here, you can see that this town accepts food. If it was smaller, it might not accept food, and with it being in the hills, you have to give it food to grow. So it grows very slowly by itself anyway, even though it says town is not growing, and you have to just wait, and when it becomes big enough to accept food, you can send food in there as well. Well, have fun working with towns, getting them bigger, growing them. Of course, bigger towns means more passengers, more mail, and more commodities for us to transport and make money in our fantastic companies. But that's all from me for now. If you've got any thoughts, ideas, or questions regarding anything in these tutorials, or anything you'd like to see, please feel free to put them down in the comments below. If you want to keep up with this tutorial series, there is a playlist link in the description, and you can always subscribe to my channel to make sure you're up to date with this series and my other OpenTTD and other games that I do. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and until I see you next time, goodbye.